Hey Pokemon trainers, welcome. We have finally made it here to the finals of the Liberty Garden, New Jersey Midseason Showdown. Joe Brown, Adam Doricott on the call today. This is pretty awesome. It's been a long day, but these players have fought through 98 other Masters to get to here.
Yeah, it's been a long old day for these players, and I think both of them having big runs in Swiss, not dropping many games there, and of course, not dropping any sets in the top cut. We had top 8 cut today, so they've already had 2 wins, and one more win in this top cut will secure them that victory. They both take a trophy home already, but it's really a decision of what it says on the trophy. Does it say finalist, or does it say champion? And we know which one both these players want.
Well, 2017 we're all champions, but in this situation there is only one Midseason Showdown champion, a new champion since Chris Danzo was knocked out in Swiss this time around.
Kindly vacated the spot, probably not so keen on that move himself, but both of these players have been playing fantastic. We've seen them both on stream a number of times today, and that opportunity to just prove themselves at this top level and really set them up for success in the rest of the season, I think.
Right. In case you have not seen our top 4 matches, our finalists are Tiago Maltez and Giovaine Neita. Both in top 4 played opponents they had previously played in the Swiss round, so they had that advantage earlier on, and they kept it along because a lot of times when you get to Swiss, you end up losing to the person you beat in Swiss.
Yeah, usually there's that kind of role reversal in that you learn from your loss and you come back, but no, these players just kept up that pressure, and I think that's why they're here in the finals. They're just so confident in their plays in every turn that they're just able to get the best out of these teams. Both of them fairly interesting teams. I think we've seen Gio's a couple of times now, and it's very popular amongst people, maybe not against his opponents, but definitely amongst viewers at home. And Tiago's a little more standard, but he just plays it absolutely fantastically.
Absolutely. So we're going to get into team preview right here for the finals of the Liberty Garden New Jersey Premier Challenge. Tiago will be on the bottom of your screen as Gio will be on the top. Tiago's running a very awesome core team of Tapu Fini, Celesteela, Garchomp, Tapu Koko, Arcanine, and Snorlax, as Gio is running Metagross, Mimikyu, Tapu Lele, Torkoal, Lilligant, and Snorlax. So a double Snorlax here.
Well, it'll be curious to see if the Snorlax have the same moves. Of course, we've seen Geo's with the Belly Drum and Tiago running that Curse variety, so that could be a little bit different. If they do both bring their Snorlax, Gio takes a turn less, or many turns less realistically, to get his Snorlax up and running with the Belly Drum. Of course, it comes with the risk of losing half of your health, but once you get it going, once you've got the right support for it, you're able to just tear through teams very, very promptly. Again, another team that doesn't have a weather changer on Tiago's. Didn't bring anything of his own, no Pelipper, no Gigalith, so if that Torkoal gets into play and gets the Sun up, then it's uncontested in bringing that Sun in this match. So overall, I think Gio may have the edge. He's got a couple more options, but Tiago's going to have insight in how this team works.
And as we've seen Tiago on stream today, the big question for him is which of the island deities does he decide to build the team that he brings around with Tapu Fini or Tapu Koko. That decision, as of right now, he's opening Tapu Koko Arcanine as Gio opens Metagross and Mimikyu.
Well, Mimikyu in a position to set up Trick Room if he wants would be quite good, I think, against the combination of Tapu Koko and Arcanine, usually a little bit quicker. And likely we see this Metagross going to be building a little bulkier to support the kind of Trick Room core that goes around it. So overall, this Mimikyu could be the focal point for Tiago. Of course, it's very tempting to divert your attentions away from the Mimikyu with the Arcanine, targeting down that Metagross with something like a big Flare Blitz. There's no Sun up yet, but Tiago playing it safe, just seeing what happens in this opening turn.
Tapu Koko with the Protect, as does Arcanine, so a double Protect from Tiago's end of the field. Wanting to see beautiful call by Tiago as Metagross goes for the explosion. Gio is beside himself, doesn't know how to handle it. Obviously not going to hit Mimikyu as he is a ghost type, so he's immune to normal type attacks, but Metagross knocks himself out. Tiago gets a free knockout without doing any damage as Mimikyu sets up Trick Room.
Well, usually it's boom or bust for these kind of plays, but in this instance, it's boom and bust. He goes for explosion right off the bat. Tiago with maybe a bit of insight from Swiss about how this team works, and he just knows that he's going to get the explosion off. That's why he partners it with the Mimikyu. But he just safely protects. Of course, he can't contest the Trick Room at that point. But it does mean he's still got the Pokemon advantage. This Snorlax coming in doesn't have anything set up yet. No belly drums. So a potential high horsepower might not be enough as we see that opening this turn.
Into Tapu Koko, super effective, but not enough, bringing it down to the red. Will-O-Wisp avoids on Tapu Koko, so it will not be knocked out this turn, as Flare Blitz goes straight into that Snorlax, doing a considerable amount of damage. Volt Switch, double target on Snorlax in electric terrain. Does a good amount. And Tapu Koko survives after the Life Orb recoveries. The clutch survive on Tiago's end as Snorlax eats a Figgy Berry and regains almost all of the HP that it lost this turn. Gigantic move there, or ability for Tapu Koko to take that, knowing exactly how much Life Orb would do. Snorlax switching in for Tiago.
Well, I think this is a really good switch, and obviously that Tapu Koko hanging on, absolutely essential. The Will-O-Wisp just helping out, meaning when it comes back in, it's going to have an opportunity to move without being easily protected out. And Tiago gets his own Snorlax in. We do know that Giovaine has the Belly Drum option on his, so Tiago might just be setting up a Curse, making sure he moves first in the Trick Room. As we do see Gio playing it very safe, this could get punished.
Gio's Snorlax goes for Protect as Tiago is a little more supportive on this turn, going for Curse, decreasing its speed, but increasing its attack as well as its defense. Mimikyu, another Will-O-Wisp avoids as Flare Blitz goes into Gio's Protect.
Well, he gets away with that Curse absolutely scot-free. It was a very smart play from Gio to see the Curse was coming, keep his Snorlax safe from the Arcanine and try and counteract that Curse with an immediate Will-O-Wisp, but another avoid from Tiago's side of the field means that Snorlax is in a very healthy position. A double target down onto Giovanni's Snorlax could be an easy way, and knowing the set he has, he doesn't have the option to recycle that berry in the same way Tiago does on his set. If he removes the Snorlax, Mimikyu's very limited in how it can deal with things on Tiago's side of the field, and he's going to be able to start working through his team quite smartly.
Snorlax attacking his fellow Snorlax with the return. High horsepower, super effective on Arcanine, not enough for the KO. Arcanine eating its berry, revealing that it has the Ayapapa berry. And Mimikyu finally, third time's the charm, lands that Will-O-Wisp onto Snorlax, who even though had that boost from Curse, is going to have its attack a little bit neutered on the following turns, as Flare Blitz will knock out Gio's Snorlax.
Well, this Snorlax on Tiago's side, although burned, is still very, very healthy. It could definitely buy itself the time to pretty much put up another Curse and let himself maybe take a little bit of damage, activate his berry, and he can just keep himself around. Once he gets another Curse up, he's in a great position here to basically not get knocked out. Once he, he's going to be able to do consistently good damage. All he really has to do is answer the Mimikyu on Gio's side. Knowing what it has, it's going to be a little bit of a tougher situation to try and get that damage out onto the Snorlax.
Tapu Lele coming in, Gio revealing that that was his final Pokemon he brought to this match. With its Psychic Surge ability, will boost all Psychic-type attacks to any grounded enemy Pokemon. So a potential Shattered Psyche or a Life Orb boosted Psychic attack will do very good amount of damage for Lele. But takes that attack from Snorlax very well because of the burn. Play rough, not doing any damage really, and a Snarl from Arcanine. Arcanine pretty much doesn't have too much special attack investment typically, but more importantly lowers Tapu Lele's special attack by one stage, and it busts Mimikyu's Disguise. As we see a Psychic with the boost on Arcanine, Arcanine takes that pretty well, so looks like he can take the special attacks pretty considerably on his end.
It's very interesting to see Tiago's Arcanine, the way it's been taking attacks. It has, of course, taken a number of attacks very, very comfortably. The berry helps it stick around, but a Snarl, and the Psychic from Tapu Lele, not doing that much at all, as we see Arcanine starting the turn out safely, even though it's pretty bulky.
With that Protect, baiting that Psychic into Arcanine again, no damage, as Mimikyu goes for a Psych Up, so it's going to copy Snorlax's +1 in attack and defense, and the knockout onto Tapu Lele there. As we saw last turn, it did roughly 50%, so this time around also does enough for the knockout there. Mimikyu, a bit more of a threat here, not going for a Swords Dance or anything, using that Psych Up variant to get that boost.
Well, that Psych Up's going to help him stick around a little longer, maybe buy him some time, but Gio just knows he's not going to be able to wear through the Snorlax even with the boost. It comes down to just a very slow play, and Tiago, with all his Pokemon available to him, was just going to be able to wear him down. So Gio, saving some time, comfortable in the information he's gathered, just deciding to move on to Game 2. I think that turn with the Volt Switch out from Tiago's side, bringing that Snorlax in under the Trick Room, absolutely fantastic because he bought it in, and then he was able to immediately Curse.
Absolutely. I think the two big turns, one with the Volt Switch, being able to survive, not only getting the damage off from your attack in electric terrain, but knowing the Life Orb calc and knowing you or just hoping probably that you'd survive the life orb recoil getting out. But I think the biggest move in game one there was the double protect with the Metagross explosion. Gio not being able to get any damage off at the cost of one of his Pokemon from full HP down to 0.
Well, yeah, not only that, he just kind of gave up some information that didn't need to be given away. You know, we only see explosion on these choice band variants, so that was information he gave away if it wasn't already theorized by Tiago, which I suspect it was, because we saw him, of course, double protect very wisely. Alongside that as well, the Will-O-Wisp missing twice before it connected with that Snorlax. Really big for Gio. Would have slowed Tiago down a whole lot more had he been able to connect those Will-O-Wisps a little bit earlier.
So let's get into it right here. Tiago up 1-0 in the finals of the Liberty Garden, New Jersey Midseason Showdown. Again, 100 Masters entered here today in Clinton, New Jersey. So this was a very important event. A lot of CP on the line, championship points, and the winner is going to be very happy. Tiago opens, switching it up, Tapu Koko, Garchomp, as does Gio switch it up with Tapu Lele, Mimikyu.
Well, we saw the Tapu Lele give away its item right off the bat there. Tapu Lele's Psychic Surge activating first, and the Psychic Terrain it brought forth immediately replaced by the Electric Terrain of Tapu Koko's Electric Surge, so he knows exactly what item it's got in the Choice Scarf, and that just allows him to play around it a little bit better. Of course, it's going to be doing big damage. That damage is reduced by the lack of terrain, which is usually how you need it to get these knockouts that it's guaranteed. And with that knowledge, we might see Tiago just try and take the hit and then retaliate onto this Mimikyu.
Tapu Lele, super effective Moonblast. Garchomp survives the hit, lowering his special attack, but not really going to matter. Garchomp taking that hit like a champ. Volt Switch going into Mimikyu, breaking that decoy of Mimikyu. So now it will finally take damage if Garchomp went for an attack there onto it. But Tapu Koko is going to switch out, not taking any damage except for its Life Orb recoil. So let's see who he decides to bring in. There is Snorlax coming back in to this match. As we saw, it did so much work the last time around. And Tiago going for the Groundium Z here. This is going to be a huge turn. If you don't know, if you skip middle school and you messed up the Earth Sciences, there's 4 layers to Earth. There's the crust, the mantle, the outer core, and the inner core. And Garchomp is sending that Mimikyu directly to the inner core.
He doesn't want any nonsense coming from Mimikyu, as it is immediately removed from play. So whatever he needed to was worried about, a potential Trick Room, for example, he's just not letting that happen. Tapu Lele is still going to be running riot, but this Snorlax has come out. We've got a Snorlax from Gio's side as well, and very safe play. I love how he manages to get Mimikyu out of the way. That Will-O-Wisp could be a big problem for Snorlax, and knowing that Gio got a little bit unlucky in the last game, he doesn't want to roll that dice in this game. So smart play, I think, from Tiago. Of course, Tapu Lele would be easily able to set up a knockout on this Garchomp with Moonblast, but that leaves his Snorlax completely unchecked.
Tapu Lele, being the fastest Pokemon on the field, will get that Moonblast off. Not able to get the one-hit knockout last turn there, which was huge for Tiago. Gio goes for a Belly Drum on his Snorlax, so let's see which Snorlax is better, the Belly Drum variant or the Curse variant. So it's Figgy Berry, by eating it, will bring its HP back up to full. Tiago not going for a boosting move, just a straight-up return into Tapu Lele. Does a good amount of damage, and next turn, if he can get another return off, that will knock out Lele.
That is a lot of damage onto the Tapu Lele. Arcanine's going to come in here and try and mitigate the Belly Drum. Obviously, one stage lower is better than nothing, but he's going to need a solid answer, and with these boosts, this Arcanine might just get caught with a high horsepower and immediately knocked out. Of course, if you do that, you leave Tiago's Snorlax to deal damage and start taking knockouts of its own. We did see Tiago, of course, avoid the Curse. The defense boost would be nice, and so would the attack boost, but losing the speed without the Trick Room could cause to be problematic, so removing that Mimikyu from play could end up costing him a little bit. With the Trick Room not going up, it could actually be quite favorable for him if he'd let it get into play.
Snorlax here, again, as we asked last time, Gio is in a better spot when it comes to the Snorlax because he has boosted his attack fully here, while Tiago's Snorlax is only at neutral.
No, that's definitely a big thing, is basically being able to get your Snorlax up to such an offensive threat so easily is something that can't be ignored when you're building these teams and when you're planning on how to counter these teams as well.
Moonblast into the Snorlax, lowering his special attack, again, not mattering there. But the Flare Blitz onto Snorlax does over 50% because of that critical hit. Arcanine going to take a lot of recoil, and the Geo's Snorlax goes for a turn. Definitely enough for a knockout because of that belly drum boost, as Tiago, a return of his own, finally knocking out that Tapu Lele.
Well, that's really big. We have seen, of course, in both instances, I think, Geo's Snorlax actually moving first. That could definitely end up being interesting in how this one plays out in the speed tier. Obviously, that Torkoal would have been nice when he was trying to Flare Blitz that Snorlax away, but a nice fast Pokemon coming out from Tiago could be enough to wear through this Snorlax.
And our first showing of sun of weather here in the finals as Torkoal enters for Geo. Very slow Pokemon, so Tapu Koko will be fastest on the field, can maybe go for a Dazzling Gleam double target or another Volt Switch. That might be enough because of electric terrain for the knockout on Snorlax, but goes for Nature Power instead, ends up being the Thunderbolt anyway, and gets that knockout on Snorlax as Tiago's Snorlax is probably the next fastest. High horsepower, super effective attack onto Torkoal. Is it enough? No, not enough for it. Another critical hit, but Torkoal's Eruption, because of such low health, is really not going to do too much damage at all. Players shake hands, and Tiago will be your 2017 New Jersey Midseason Showdown champion.
Well, that was a nice quick game, I think. Both players kind of had their other opponents scouted out, and Tiago just running it through all the way, came in. He actually said to me last night, I was having a conversation with him, and he did look me dead in the eye and say, I am going to win this event. Now, I hear that a lot from time to time, and I don't always believe it. So to see somebody follow through with that promise to me, kind of a novelty, I'm going to say that. A very deserving champion, though, playing his team absolutely beautifully.
You know why he said he was going to win to you? Because earlier at the mixer, when I was chatting it up with my good friend Tiago, I said, listen, man, tomorrow this is your tournament. You're going to win it. So I gave him the confidence to then tell you that he's going to win it.
It's a team effort. You build him up, he passes that confidence on to me, and he comes home as your New Jersey mid-season regional champion? Mid-season champion.
It might as well be 100 entrants.
That's a big old mid-season, to be honest with you. That's bigger than a regional I've been to. So, very well played by Tiago. Obviously, fantastic play by Gio, taking the Torkoal Lilligant that's not his, I guess. Other people accredit it to another player. But, running it himself with his own kind of style around it. The Mimikyu Snorlax in there. That really interesting choice by Metagross. I loved how that team came together, and it just kind of fell short in the finals, unfortunately, for him.
But definitely gets a lot of championship points on his way, hopefully to Anaheim, as we have many of our Northeast region players who will be there over the summer. But the big question everyone was wondering, because of last week, Anaheim, you were there.
I was.
The Gavin, who only had one loss the entire weekend, his team with the Snorlax and Mimikyu, a little bit of trick room going on. The question was, will that just dominate, or will everybody just counter that and no one runs it so no one's prepared for it? Will everyone just run Gavin's team pretty much straight up? And in our finals, we had Snorlax, we had Mimikyu. There was, we added some weather in there, a little bit of variance, but it seems like Snorlax is coming onto the map in this format.
Snorlax has been around for a few tournaments now. It definitely picked up, I think, around the Anaheim time. Not Anaheim, Athens, the event before that. People kind of got a feel for it, started picking up what they needed to do with it. And then when Anaheim rolled around, everyone was really comfortable in how to play it. And I think, honestly, we have St. Louis Regionals next weekend. I'd expect to see Snorlax at the top tables again.
Absolutely. It's going to be really fun. I hope we can have a lot of our players. You'll be there over in St. Louis.
I'm actually going to go play in St. Louis. So
all
I'm
right,
really
well,
looking
see
forward
you
to
in
that.
Top Cut then.
I should be top cutting. That's the only way.
Well, we're gonna close it out here. So, it's been a wonderful weekend in Clinton, New Jersey. Everyone, the whole staff, everything, our stream crew. Just like to say thanks. All the matches we had today, they've been awesome all around. Just been getting progressively better and better in each through Swiss and Top Cut. And our crew, we're just so on top of it. If we were like a high school swim team, we would be all state. So.
There we go. Well, thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure to come up here and be able to work with you guys. I'm sure everyone else appreciates the time that we get to spend up here. So
absolutely. It's been awesome having you, Gabby, the whole crew here.
I'd love to be back as soon as possible.
Well, hopefully, I'll say we'll see you next year, but hopefully we'll see you at an event before that too.
Yeah.
So thanks for watching. Appreciate it. Stay tuned. Follow us on Twitter so you stay updated, and we'll be back with another awesome event for you. This is Liberty Garden.